ciudad de Santo Domingo fue establecida en el año 1502, pero había sido descubierta, la isla había sido descubierta por Cristóbal Colón en 1492. De manera que este pedazo de tierra es muy rico en historia, al ser la primera ciudad fundada en el continente, tener el primer hospital, la primera universidad y la primera catedral. Que el continente americano, Latinoamérica en esta parte, fue cristianizado por los españoles, pero la realidad es que la verdad bíblica, como la Biblia la expresa, no alcanzó en esos momentos ninguna importancia prioritaria en la vida de las personas. De manera que Latinoamérica ha sido caracterizada por un tradicionalismo religioso sin que necesariamente exista una relación personal con la persona de Jesús. I left my country in 1982, and I went to the U.S. to do my specialties. I did 3 years of internal medicine, 2 years of infectious disease. And in all honesty, it was not my idea to come back. I wanted to go into an academic institution and teach and just spend my life, the rest of my life, doing that. The Lord started to do a work in my heart around 1983, a year later, right after one of my brothers died in a plane accident. He was a pilot and crashed in Massachusetts, and that shook up the family emotionally and spiritually. And 1983 clearly was the year that I could identify when I started to pursue very seriously the study of the Word of God. By 1992, I did not even want to continue doing medicine, which is amazing that someone goes from wanting to be a teacher in an academic institution forever to now wanting to leave medicine to do ministry. We arrived in Santo Domingo in May of 1997, and since we had been away for so long, we started visiting different churches to see what each one was doing. And the International Baptist Church was one of those churches. We heard that day that the missionary that was in charge of the church would be leaving in 3 weeks. Well, at that time, it didn't even cross my mind that I would pastor that church. Nevertheless, that is the church that God was preparing for us to pastor. When I came here and I started to visit churches and pastors and getting an idea of what was going on, it was sad for me to see that churches with good doctrines were not working together. They were not close to each other. But God put something in my heart for them, and then I started inviting some of those pastors to come to our church and preach. And by doing that, they started to know the church and started to know me and the rest of the leadership. And now there's a group of churches that are working together. We are united for the gospel. We don't come together and be the realization of that prayer that Christ uttered in the upper room in John 17, that they may be one like we are one. If that doesn't take place, revival will never be. So the idea came up, let's do an event and let's call it for his cause. So we're all going to come together. We're going to leave behind all of these little issues that separate each one. Let's come together so that we could do what the book of Jude said we should do. That is, we should contend for the gospel, for the truth that were once given, entrusted to you. So this event for his cause is supposed to do that. It's supposed to be the battle cry for the army of God to come together to contend and defend that truth.
Señor, tu sangre me lavó.
Jay. Bienvenido, welcome. It's so good to have you in our country. May God bless you and use you. And thank you for your personal ministry to so many pastors, to this group of people, and personally to me. Thank you, brother.
It is quite the honor to be here.
Es un verdadero honor estar aquí.
Miguel's kind invitation to come and speak at this conference
La invitación gentil de Miguel para que yo viniera y accediera a esta conferencia
is humbling,
me humilla
and your love is overwhelming.
y su amor me sobreviene.
When Miguel invited me, I was incapable of declining.
Cuando Miguel me invitó, fui incapaz de declinarle.
We are here to learn from you.
Estamos aquí para aprender de ustedes,
We are here to begin a friendship with you.
para iniciar una amistad con ustedes
And we hope that in some small way we can serve you.
y de alguna manera pequeña poder servirles.
So thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias.
I don't recall how many nations were represented physically at the conference, but the transmission via internet was also incredible. I was surprised because at one point we had over 32 nations who were sending messages saying what they were watching, what they were receiving, how they were being touched. We were looking for a ministry that would have a lot of things in common with us. And the ministry we were looking for should have a passion to reach the Hispanic world. And we found that in Gracia Soberana. And we'll see what else God has in store for us.
Miguel's story is, well, it's pretty amazing. He's certainly an impressive leader, but what a God-glorifying story. I mean, here's a man who went from life as a physician to being called to ministry in the Dominican Republic and into Latin America. This guy's got a vision that captivates and gifts that galvanize as well. And that has led him to people who love him, a ministry that is mobilized, and the gospel ringing forth and bearing much fruit through that ministry. You know, it's always been perplexing to us to see the doors open for Sovereign Grace Ministries in places like Mexico and Bolivia and El Salvador and the Dominican Republic and Cuba. Even from the early days, these doors opened in Latin America, and that was remarkable to us. And it's exciting for our family of churches to connect with Miguel because we share the same vision that he has to see the gospel go forward. This vision starts with your local church mission, that mission to proclaim the gospel to the community in which you're situated. But advancing the gospel goes beyond your community. It goes way beyond your community. Jesus left the church with a call to make disciples of all nations. Our partnership has formed and is focused toward the advancement of that Great Commission. So together, as Sovereign Grace churches, we equip, we send, and we support leaders for ministry in more than 20 countries beyond the United States. The work you've heard about in these videos in Cuba and the Dominican Republic are a part of that. But you know what? There's a lot more we can share as well. First, there's the Sovereign Grace Ministries Pastors College. This school has trained hundreds of men for ministry since being founded in 1998. And this year, we have our biggest class yet. We're thrilled that this group includes 5 international students, including Rolando, the man Miguel, ascending from the Dominican Republic, and also 8 potential church planters. Sovereign Grace churches have partnered to plant 30 U.S. churches in the last 10 years, including 4 in the last year and several more planned for this upcoming year. And listen to this. That work over the last decade includes more than 750 of you joining church planting teams, people who have literally built these churches from the ground up. And that work is making a difference. It's making a difference as new believers are baptized and lives are transformed by the glorious gospel. And beyond the United States, Sovereign Grace Ministries supports leaders and churches in more than 20 countries. And those churches, you know what? Those churches are doing amazing work. In these videos, you've seen some of what God is doing through our partnership in Cuba and the Dominican Republic. In Ethiopia, Covenant Life Church of Addis Ababa helped organize evangelistic meetings this year, attended by tens of thousands of people. In Australia, Sovereign Grace Church of Sydney was planted in 2010 and has already seen many conversions through their ministry in that city. In Burma, the network of small churches we work with has found innovative ways to bring the gospel to previously unreached people in the Irrawaddy Delta. And this year, after a year of training and preparation, there's a group of families preparing right now to plant a Sovereign Grace Church among an unreached people group in North Africa. Wow. And here's what I want you to hear. None of this could have happened apart from your faithful participation in your local church, your personal investment of time in the work of the gospel. And you know what else? Your generous financial support over the last 29 years. And friends, it can't continue without you. Yeah, we've got challenges right now, but we serve a great God, and He's doing great things even amid the difficulties. If you're already financially supporting your church's partnership with Sovereign Grace Ministries, then thank you so much for the investment that you've made. If you have faith to continue, we would love to have you invest over the coming year. So, on behalf of the many, many people your prayers and giving have touched over the years, thank you. Thank you.
The rest of my life doing that. The Lord started to do a work in my heart around 1983, a year later, right after one of my brothers died in a plane accident. He was a pilot and crashed in Massachusetts, and that shook up the family emotionally and spiritually. And 1983 clearly was the year that I could identify. I left my country in 1982, and I went to the U.S. to do my specialties. I did 3 years of internal medicine, 2 years of infectious disease. And in all honesty, it was not my idea to come back. I wanted to go into an academic institution and teach and just spend my life. De manera que este pedazo de tierra es muy rico en historia, al ser la primera ciudad fundada en el continente, tener el primer hospital, la primera universidad y la primera catedral. Que el continente americano, Latinoamérica en esta parte, fue cristianizado por los españoles, pero la realidad es que la ciudad de Santo Domingo fue establecida en el año 1502, pero había sido descubierta, la isla había sido descubierta por Cristóbal Colón en 1492. La verdad bíblica, como la Biblia la expresa, no alcanzó en esos momentos ninguna importancia prioritaria en la vida de las personas. De manera que Latinoamérica ha sido caracterizada por un tradicionalismo religioso sin que necesariamente exista una relación personal con la persona de Jesús.